Hello class, today we're going to be talking about law of exponents and just a little recap on exponents. On the top right hand corner right here we see that the base, which is also known as the big number, and then we have the exponent, which is your little number at the top. And the base is the number that you're going to be multiplying by, and the exponent tells you how many times. So we're going to go ahead and look at the properties for law of exponents. And as you can see, we have 7 here. We're going to go ahead and start off with the first one, which is multiplication of exponents. And what you do when we are multiplying and they have to have the same base, you're going to go ahead and add the exponents only if the bases are the same. So if the bases are the same, we're going to go ahead and add the exponents. So we keep the base, which is x, and then add a plus b. So if you see the example right here, we're going to go ahead and see we have b, which is the same base. So we're going to go ahead and keep the base, and then we're going to go ahead and do 3 plus 4. And all we're going to do is go ahead and add 3 plus 4, which gives you 7. And then that's it. That will be our final answer. So now we go to division. And in division, a little bit opposite of what we did to multiplication. In multiplication, we added the exponents. Now for division, same thing. If we have the same bases, we're going to go, instead of adding, we're going to go ahead and subtract. So again, same basis. We have x and x. Then we're going to go ahead and keep the base and then just subtract our exponents. So here at our example, we have h, and then we're going to go ahead and do 8 minus 3. And all you do is simplify it, which becomes h to the 5th power. And you got your answer there. On number 3 is when you have parentheses raised to a power. So that means you already have a power on the base, but you have another power on the outside of those parentheses. What you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and distribute this power, the b, and you're going to be multiplying to the inside. So we're going to go ahead and keep the base, and you're going to be multiplying a times b. So if you look at the example to the right, we have j, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and multiply. So we're going to keep the base, and then we're going to go ahead and do 9 times 2, which that becomes j to the 18th power. On number 4, we have multiplication when we have the same exponents. So if you look at we're multiplying here, when you have 2 letters side by side, it means you're multiplying, and you do have an exponent on the outside of the parentheses. So you're going to go ahead and distribute that exponent to both variables that you have inside. And if you were to have a number, for example, 2ab, and you have that squared, then you would also go ahead and distribute that to the top. And distribute to everything on the inside of those parentheses. So then at the end, it will go ahead and look 2 squared, a squared, b squared. And then you will go ahead and simplify. So looking back at this example that we have to the right side, you're going to go ahead and do the same thing. You have a 4 on the outside of those parentheses, where again, we are multiplying because the variables are side by side. You're going to go ahead and distribute the 4 to the a and the 4 to the b as an exponent. And because they're not the same base, then we can no longer simplify. So then that will be your final answer. If they were to be the same base, then you would go ahead and combine them and simplify it and go back to the property number 1, which is the multiplication with the same basis. Going to number 5, we have division. And whenever you're dividing, notice here we have the division between 2 variables, and you have an exponent on the outside. Then you're going to go ahead and distribute that exponent to the top and to the bottom. Okay, so then we have x to the 8 over y to the a, and again, they don't have the same basis, so then that will be your final answer. So same thing here on the example that we have here. You're going to go ahead and distribute that 7 to the top, which that becomes e to the 7th over, and distribute to the bottom, that becomes d to the 7th. And again, they're not the same basis, so we can go ahead and simplify. So that would be your final answer. Number 6, we're almost close to the end. Number 6, we have when we have negative exponents. So when we're talking about negative exponents, we don't like to have this negative as an exponent. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and convert it into a fraction. So whenever you have this negative on the top as an exponent, all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a 1 on the top and eliminate that negative in the front. So if you look right here to the right side, that's what you're basically doing. Whenever you have a negative, you create a fraction, and that eliminates that negative as the exponent. So if we look to the example, we're going to go ahead and add a 1 to create a fraction, and then put g, and because we're creating that fraction, that negative eliminates. And last but not least, when we do have 0 exponents, so that 0 as an exponent, whenever we have 0 as an exponent, it will be a 1. And that's not a 1 as an exponent, but a 1. That will be your final answer. So anything to the 0 power will become a 1. So if you look at your example, we have 5 to the 0 power. So 5 to the 0 power, again, just becomes a 1. If we have 10 to the 0 power, again, 1. If you want to get a more complicated number, 1,526 to the 0 power, again, anything will become 1. So again, just a little reminder here at the bottom, we went ahead and put, if we have a to the 0, it's not a to the 1, but it's a to the 0 equals 1. And that is it. So with these notes, you can go back to them and go ahead and look over them. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. And if you take a look over here on the left-hand corner, on the top left-hand corner, I did assign IXLs for you all. And it does have to include the multiplication property, division property, and it also has some there for negatives. So all these properties will be covered on these IXLs. So if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Email me or message me there on Google Classrooms. Thank you.